Welcome to Unity Southeast in Kansas City. We are so excited to be here with you tonight for Activate Your Power Now. Tonight we got a great, amazing lineup of speakers, and we're going to go ahead and start this evening. We're talking about our 12 powers. We're continuing on that, and it is on the power of order. The power of order is quite amazing. It is talking about harmony, divine balance. I like to think of order. One of the things I like about it is I think of like sacred geometry. And I don't know how many of you know what a succulent plant is, and they're called henna and chicks. I love them. They're like a succulent rose, and they just make my heart happy. But if you look at them, they're like a perfect mandala because all the way around, there's perfect symmetry. That is what order is, harmony and divine balance.
Come on, girl.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so I want to invite Izzy and James up because they're going to open us up this evening. So let's give them a round of applause.
Hello, thank you everybody for being here tonight in person and virtually. Like typically we know that you had a choice to be anywhere else, but you chose to be here.
No better place to be.
You chose to share this space with us and with everybody tuning in online. You chose to be intentional right on order, what we're talking about today. So it wasn't about being tired. It wasn't about all those things. It was divine order. Something bigger than yourself brought you here today. And I just want to say thank you, because Elise and I were just talking, and with these events, I think a lot of people will agree, we all learn something. It don't matter if you're in the audience, if you're speaking, it doesn't matter what it is. It just seems like everybody gets a great takeaway from our events. So I just want to celebrate all of you guys, say thank you, and go ahead and get this started today. So James, go ahead and...
So who are you?
I'm Isabel, Luz Camacho Black, or Izzy, the intentional healer. And what makes me an intentional healer is that I intentionally have chosen to heal myself from my past traumas, from my generational cycles, and from my current circumstances. I no longer let life overtake me. I choose to be intentionally in control of my life. So, thank you.
And I am J Love, the formula, because just love is the formula. The highest love, that agape love, is the formula that's inside each and every one of us. And by tapping into that, by activating that power and allowing that to guide you, it will lead you into becoming a better version of yourself, the highest version of yourself, the truest version of yourself. So when we speak on divine order today, we're speaking on attuning yourself to divine ideas and allowing that to flow into your life, which will lead to right relationships, right people at the right time. Yeah. So speaking of how AYPN has came into fruition through us walking in divine order, but before we get into that, I want everybody together to take a collective breath. So let's breathe in and out. So last night, I had a dream. And in that dream, I was standing in front of this cave, this huge cave. And inside this cave was a polar bear. And it just like slaughtered this animal. So it was all guts and gore everywhere. And it came out and it was, and I was like, whoa. It was very powerful, very scary at the same time. But then it started to chase me. And then all of a sudden, like we were in this body of water, and then I became a polar bear, and I was chasing a penguin, swimming in this water, right? So I woke up this morning, and I'm like, what was the relevance of this dream? And I was doing my research and looking it up, and polar bear is an animal totem in many different cultures, and it means not only strength and protection, but also means perseverance and determination and ability to have that deep resolve. You know, these polar bears, they're isolated in the most harshest conditions in the world right now, and they have to travel miles in order to get their food. And they have to actually be in tune with divine order at all times through their instinct in order to survive, and not only survive, but to thrive and prosper. So by tapping into patience, tapping into perseverance and determination, you know, that dream kind of gave me that idea that right now, these are times when not only do I need to tap into that, but the people around me, right? AYPN and its affiliates, right? Also, it symbolizes a time where a huge shift is happening in your life. A huge transition is happening in your life. And I don't know about any of y'all, but you know, if you give me a show of hands, how many people are transitioning right now? How many people have let go of something in their lives right now? Exactly. There's so much weight that's being torn, and with force, sometimes with ease, right? But it's our ability to be patient while that is happening, to surrender to the conditions around us, knowing that, yeah, we may be in the harshest conditions in our lives right now, but yet we can still find peace, right? We can still find grace and find ease within those conditions. So I'm gonna take it back to the transitions that brought me to this place right now before I give it back to Isabel. So I was thinking back, and it took me back to 2017. And I don't know about y'all, but again, 2017 was a huge year, not only for my personal life, but for this country. You know, another controversial president took oath. A few other things happened, but in my personal life, my dad got remarried, right? There was an issue with my job, so I was transitioning into a new position. And at the same time, one of the most important things that happened in my life at that time was my dad planted a seed. I was 3 years deep into my workout routine. And he was like, son, I'm planning on going on stage and doing a men's physique competition this year. And I want you to join me. Next year, you already have the body, you already have the work ethic. You might as well come take that next leap and join me on stage. And when he first asked me that, I was like, nah, I'm good on that. Like, I'm comfortable in my space. I'm comfortable just going to the gym, putting on my headphones, and just working out and being okay with that. But then I went and saw him actually on stage, and I was like, he lost 50 pounds. I was like, man, I can't let this old man outshine me, right? So I'm like, if he can do it, let me go ahead and give it a try and see what happens, right? So that was 2017. I didn't get on stage until 2018. So men's physique competition in 2018. See, these were the seeds that were planted, you know, in me facing these small fears that led to small wins that over time built momentum that led me to where I'm at right now. So 2018, I went on stage, scared as ever, shaking on stage, doing my pose, trying to smile the best way I can. My mouth is shaking, my body is shaking. And I'm like, man, when am I going to? This spotlight, I'm sweating, everything is just happening. But I'm there. I'm on the stage. So that led to other opportunities, other things happening in 2018. Me basically being in a car accident 2 weeks before my new job started, and 2 weeks before my competition. So all these shifts, 2017, 2018, they're happening in my life. It's leading to 2019 where I decided to get on stage again, and this time do powerlifting. So once again, I'm challenging myself to face another layer and peel that back. So all in divine timing, all in divine order. And And as I'm thinking back, I'm like, me being on stage, actually speaking my truth, that wasn't the start. The start happened way before, and now it's just been culminating and building and building and building. 2020, I'm basically integrating everything that I've done before. I'm learning how to fast. I'm learning how to, get deep in my studies, metaphysical, spiritual studies. That opens the door for 2021, where I met the right people at the right time, joined the Speakers Academy, and that's where I met Isabel Black. And that was all right there, divine timing and divine order, because how I met Isabel Black was through Alan Little, by going through being a him at another central of spiritual living. That's the name was Center of Spiritual Living, excuse me. But anyways, and that was divine timing in itself. And he led me to Isabel, which has led us to be here right now. So I want you to go ahead and tell your side of the story of how you got here.
Well, man, James, that sounded like a very interesting 2017, But while you were in the gym building confidence and building muscles and getting ready to go out there and face your fears, I was actually falling apart. So you see, I had already faced my fears leading up to 2017, because my biggest fear was that my children were going to go through life with the same pains and struggles that I had to. And I refused to let that be their future. But in 2017, my kids were all three of them basically grown. So when my only why was my kids and making sure they didn't go through what I went through, I found myself chasing my tail. I found myself chasing happiness and chasing all this order in the world that people told me it needed to be in this order for you to be a good person. It had to be in this order for you to be a good mom. It had to be in this order for you to be a good wife. And in 2017, I couldn't take it anymore. My kids were grown. I started realizing, if that's what I lived for, what do I have left to live for? So in 2017 was when, for the first time in my life, I considered giving up. I couldn't figure out what there was left to do for me. And in those feelings of giving up and surrendering, and I think I had already started to give up in 2017. I had already started to give up. Little things that I was passionate about, I no longer was passionate about anymore. That spark just wasn't there. But it was then where something got activated within me for no good reason. I wasn't searching for growth. I wasn't looking for the answers, because I already knew nobody had them. Nobody had the answers for me. But what I was told in 2017 is that one little word: intentionality.
Come on, girl.
So when God showed me that although the order of life thus far had looked like there was nothing left for me to do, He said He had work for me to do. But what He needed me to do first was understand the difference between spiritual order and earthly order. See, all the things that I was chasing up to that point were all earthly things. They were all the things that were going to fill my cup just up to that point. Whatever my need was, it was being fulfilled, but nothing beyond that. So for me, I just had to start taking this look at my life, and I had to start understanding, if I'm not happy, why is that? If I don't have meaning in my life, why is that? Where did the lies attach to me? Where did all this even happen? I was probably one of the most confident people you would ever meet. And all of a sudden, I felt unseen. I felt without purpose, without meaning. But it was when I chose to do life on purpose with purpose. I had to give myself a why bigger than me, bigger than my pains, bigger than my fears. And when God showed me that I lived the life I lived so that I may be prepared for my divine purpose. And that hadn't come yet, he said. So what that did for me was take me on a journey with it. Something I had never done before. I started pausing, I started breathing. I started letting things that were important to me not take that important role anymore. Work, dime a dozen. There's money out there to be made everywhere. I could no longer put that at the priority of my life. I had to put peace, because that's what I was lacking. So when I went on the journey of peace, I realized that I am the only person in control of my peace. So that took me again, like you, on a journey, right? Just searching for my people. Because I said, God, well, if you're sending me out in the world to lead, if you're sending me out to share my story, the only people in my world then was my family. They don't heard it. They don't care. But he brought our tribe. You know, and fast forward, yes, you said we met in the class, and that was all divine, you know, with all of that. But what happened right after that is actually what was the divine part. Because what happened after that was our collaboration here with Unity Southeast. See, God put something in our order, something in our path for us to do. But we didn't know where to do it. We didn't know who would care. We didn't know who would need it. And that's when we came and spoke with Mr. Reverend Randy. And that literally is what changed the trajectory for Activate Your Power. That's what created Activate Your Power Now, not change the trajectory. It was Unity Southeast opening their doors, seeing that activation was something necessary for everybody. It was Reverend Randy that saw the vision before we could even see the vision fully. And he made that safe space for us to come and serve and to wake into this calling and to build a new divine order in our life. So I just can't help but, I always want to bring them up.
Yeah, bring them up. Come on. Come on stage. Come on stage, Reverend Randy. So I'm going to say this, because when you invited me to this church to meet with the Reverend, and the first thing, you know, when we were talking about what I do, because he hasn't met me yet, you know, he didn't know me from anybody. So I told him, yeah, I'm part of the Love Renaissance, and I saw his face. He was like, what is that? That seems kind of weird and quirky. And I was explaining to him what it was, and he was like, okay, that's kind of like, I get it, I'm getting it. And then we were trying to figure out, okay, because our initial assignment was to do a conversion event. That was our homework and our final assignment for the Speakers Academy. So Isabel, she knew Reverend, and he gave her the stage and said, if you need this, you know, just contact me anytime. So we had a meeting, and we were going in thinking it's going to be a one-time event. And it turned from a one-time event. He was like, well, I need somebody for a 12-month series on Wednesdays, and I'll give you the stage if you commit to doing 12 months. And we were like, okay. So it went from just following those small crumbs throughout the years to meeting in divine timing, to allow divine order to happen in our lives, to it blossoming and turning into what it is right now through the help of other people around us, right? Through the help of other people walking the path, and they're able to see the vision before we are able to see it, and to implant that grace and that power and allow our strength to be radiated and to be cultivated over time. So, Reverend Randy, we had a gift for you today. We would like to thank you for it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You want to say thank you?
Oh, that's pretty.
Great. For recommending it.
Want.
But we do. I want to sincerely, and Reverend Elisa, will you please come up here also? should have brought two up. I have yours also. I think we were gonna do yours separate, but let's just go ahead and get you up here. And we really want to sincerely say thank you to both of you for believing in us, believing in what we're doing, and supporting us and all of the activators and activities coming through. We've just been so blessed to get to know you, not just you guys, but you're sharing your congregation, sharing your church, sharing your community. We really are, we feel super blessed, we feel grateful, and literally there would be no Activate Your Power Now without your guys' support. We know God would have made anything happen. I'm not belittling God, but I'm just saying, there would not be an Activate Your Power Now as we have it today without Unity Southeast. So just want to say thank you again, and can't stress how grateful we are for you guys.
Thank you so much.
So we do have a quick question though. So what did you see in us during that meeting?
So it was a lot of things. Let me first start out by saying that it is always an honor to allow love, life, and wisdom to take front and center in my life. And I knew when you guys walked in, you guys were exemplifying love, life, and wisdom. You guys brought forth that day a knowing in me that we need each other. So it wasn't about you coming in and me saying, wow, I see something in them. It was about you coming in and saying, wow, this is something that the world needs. This was bigger than Unity Southeast. It's bigger than Reverend Randy. It's bigger than Reverend Alyssa. It's bigger than Isabel Camacho Black. It's bigger than J Love. Can you say J Love?
J Love.
All right. I'm really starting to embrace that now. I want to be our love, but it just doesn't roll off. But what I know is this. I know that when you guys came in that day, you guys decided to show up in life. And you guys have been showing up, but you were showing up in a brand new way. And so I felt like in that moment it was the beginning of something. And I said to myself, I don't know what this is the beginning of, but I want to be on this journey with you. And so I'm so grateful that you guys showed up here and that somebody else didn't get your talent and your presence and all that you've brought. And it's been an amazing year. And I just look forward to see what's next for you guys, because I know big things are coming your way.
Well, thank you for all you definitely appreciate creating that container and holding that space and allowing the seeds to be planted and activated.
Well, you guys can go ahead and take a seat. If we could just give them applause one more time, please, and all of Unity, because again, you know, all of you guys have allowed us to come in here and allowed us to serve here, and just have welcomed us. I've never been welcomed like this anywhere, have you? I'm gonna go ahead and read real quick, and this is off of the Unity website. And it's just a little something about the power of order. And I thought it was really nice, and so did James. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it and share a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and move on and let the other speakers come up. So, creating harmony. Order starts with the establishment of this concept in our thinking and then works from within out. Some people, in establishing order, think first in terms of urging their systems and methods on other people. This is not the purpose of this order. We must first work on ourselves, and then from harmonious, happy feelings within, bring forth God ideas into our immediate environment. In this case of order, once we have put ourselves in tune with God ideas and are cooperating with divine principle, we will find that we attract right relationships with other people, satisfying and fulfilling activities, time for all the things we need to do, and right growth and development of all our powers. Order is the outgrowth of our complete agreement and cooperation with spiritual law. This is a process that must be complete in mind, emotions, and in actions. And I share that because, again, there would be no Activate Your Power Now. There would be no Izzy the Intentional Healer, no James Love the Formula, if it wasn't for divine order and us trusting the process. So again, I'm Isabel Luz Camacho Black, or Izzy the Intentional Healer.
I'm Jay Love, the Formula, and trust the process, right? It all starts with taking those small steps, facing those small fears, and being open and allowing and surrendering to that order and that timing to enter your life and guide you into your next steps. You guys take it easy.
Thank you.
Totally awesome. Thank you for the gifts. I was thinking when you guys were here talking, I was reminded of the scripture, and actually I'm more thinking about the song, turn, 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 for every season there is a under heaven, because as we turn and turn and turn, things are changing, right? And order is about the harmony in that change. So thank you for sharing that. I also wanted to share a quote by one of my favorite peace activists. She says, "There is nothing that happens by chance in our universe. Everything unfolds according to higher laws. Everything is regulated by divine order." Peace Pilgrim. And for those of you that don't know, she was an activist that walked from one end of the country to the other about peace, promoting peace, speaking peace, embodying peace.
You spoke at this church once also.
Really? That is amazing. See, I knew I loved her for one reason or another. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. I always feel like when I come in here, there's a lot of times I'm taking my shoes off because I want to feel the energies that are flowing up and through my body. That's divine order, because I feel like I'm standing on hallowed ground. And when I hear those stories and when I get those little nuggets of little pieces of history, it reminds me, yep, I'm connected to that vibrational footprint. So thank you for sharing. So in unity, we know that the power of order is represented by a really pretty color, green, and that's a life, a heart-centered space, And it's also represented right here in the navel. And in the navel, it made me think it's about life, You guys were talking about sometimes as you're moving through divine order, you start in that earthly experience before you're owning your spiritual experience, right? And when you think about birth, we're connected to the navel of our parent. And, they say generation after generation, we're connected by that one source, because our grandmothers and our grandmothers before them, we're all carrying all the eggs we're ever going to have, and we're passing it down to our children, right? So we're birthing something new. That is divine order. That is harmony and an eternal balance. And so as we are birthing, we are getting ready to celebrate somebody's birthday here at Unity Southeast. Somebody that creates a space that we step into and owning our divine order here, owning our divine order here at Unity Southeast. So I want to welcome up Reverend Randy, who's going to take us on a journey.
Never, as a unity minister, follow another unity minister, especially when she's that exceptional. Because when you have an exceptional minister, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I was going to say that. Oh, I was going to say that. But so now here I am. And you know what the beautiful thing is this? Now I can let go of what I was going to say, and I can simply let Spirit speak through me.
Come on, brother.
And that is divine order. So I loved listening to Izzy and James, and what I've heard them say is they got the call. So say, I got the call.
I got the call.
They moved forward. Say, I moved forward.
I moved forward.
And I made space for Spirit.
I made space for
So
Spirit.
So I got the call.
I got the call.
I moved forward.
I moved forward.
And I made space for Spirit.
I made space for Spirit.
Sounds like a pretty good recipe, doesn't it? Okay, so here's the deal. I'm giving you the call. I'm going to call everyone that's in the sanctuary to move to the center and move toward the front. So you're getting the call. The question is, will you answer? Move towards the center and towards the front. And that's the move forward. So you got the call, you move forward. Now I'm going to ask you to simply make space for spirit. Make space for what is. And I cannot stand on this stage without paying homage to the gentleman that brought us to this stage in this building, and he's in the house tonight. So I just want to send a warm welcome to Reverend Wentworth. And I stand on this stage, and I stand on his shoulders, and I stand on the knowing that the same Spirit, the same good, the same God that brings him life is the same Spirit and the same God that brings me life. And I find solace in that. It makes me feel like everything is aligned as I stand here. And that's another word for divine order. We talk about harmony and alignment. So how many of you guys want to get aligned? Woo! Okay, so what I want you to do is I'm going to step into and allow the words of Charles Fillmore, which is one of our founders, speak to me through you. Now I'm going to paraphrase because I try not to memorize anything, but I'm going to get as close as possible. But I'm going to have you help me. We're going to break this down. So I'm going to say some words and you're going to respond. Okay, you're going to give me the response of the same words. Ready? I am.
I am.
I am now.
I am now.
I am now in the presence.
I am now in the presence.
I am now in the presence
I am now in the presence
of pure being,
of pure being,
immersed in the Holy Spirit,
immersed in the Holy Spirit
of wisdom,
of wisdom,
love,
love,
and life.
and life.
Okay, so let's say that all together. Ready?
What?
I am now. You guys, come on.
I am now.
I am now
I am now
Immersed
in the presence
in the presence
of pure being,
of pure being,
immersed in the Holy Spirit
immersed in the Holy Spirit
of wisdom,
of wisdom,
love.
love, love, and life.
Okay, so you guys were all trying to get that. So now I'm just going to ask you to let go of all these words. I'm going to ask you to embody them by simply sitting quietly and allowing these words not just to be something you say, but to find alignment, to find harmony, to find order within you. And just allow them to permeate every cell of your body. Allow them to permeate every thought that you currently have. Allow them to permeate any knowing that is available and in tune with you right here and right now. I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of wisdom, love, and light. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power now, Holy Spirit. And through thy divine wisdom, erase all mortal limitations, and through thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world through your perfect law. Through your perfect law. You see, we get so caught up as humans in this spiritual experience, thinking that we have control of anything, rather than allowing the Spirit to have control of everything. Everything. And sometimes that's more difficult than others. And we hear Reverend Alyssa stand on the stage and she says we live in both worlds. We live in our humanness and we also live in our spiritualness. I'm going to challenge that a little bit and say, no, I live in my spiritualness, but sometimes I have to surrender to my humanness, which is really a mistake, but we do it each and every day. We surrender to our humanness rather than surrendering to spirit. So if you have a choice, would you rather surrender to lack? Would you rather surrender to conflict? Would you rather surrender to chaos? Or would you rather surrender to love and life and wisdom? I don't know about you, but I choose the latter. You see, when we talk about harmony, or we talk about divine order, we say it's harmony, we say it's alignment, and by the nature of the word, it is order. And so order, oftentimes when we think about it, we think about putting things in chronological order. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. That's a human construct. Because in spiritual order, There is no first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. There is only one. There's one presence, one power, all good, all knowing in my life. There's only one presence and one power, all good in my life. And so when we talk about divine order, it's not about first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. It's about just knowing what is true, and there is only one. So if there's only one, can anything come before it? Can anything come after it? So the whole chronological order thing is nothing in spirit. There is only one. But yet most of us are walking through life and we're putting things before good. We're putting things before love. We're putting things before God. We're putting things after love. God, if you just give me this, I'll be this tomorrow. God, if I'm so sorry I did this and I know you're punishing me for it now. No, let me tell you something. God has never punished. God is all good, all knowing, all the time. It is our human construct that tells us different. And so if we want to live a life of love, and we want to live a life of light, and we want to live a life of wisdom, then we have to live a life of only good, only God. And I know some of you are watching online and you're saying, well, I don't know about this God thing. I'm here to tell you, use whatever word you want, but there is something that breathes you. Throughout my life, I've called it different things. I've called it God, I've called it love, I've called it energy. I even at one point called it Allah, and at one point I called it Buddha. But what I do know is true is there's one presence, one power, no matter what I call it or how I call it. And it's the how I call it that used to get in my way, because I used to think if I just did this first, this second, this third, which I just got done telling you, there is no chronological order in God. All I needed to know was I am, God is, end of story.
Yes.
There doesn't need to be an addendum and a sequential liability, and there doesn't have to be a subsection A to column B. It just has to be God is, I am. Good is, I am. Love is, I am. Light is, I am. Wisdom is, I am. So if I just stand in love, and I stand in light, and I stand in wisdom, and I stand in God, I am automatically in divine order, and there is nothing I need to do. Order is not about alphabetical A, B, C, D, E. I hear people say, and my algebra teacher told me that A equals B and B equals C, therefore A equals C. So what you're telling me is all the same, right? Well, it is until A changes. And then A is no longer equal to B unless you change B as well. Here's what I'm going to tell you. In spirit, there is no alphabetical order, because God never changes. A will never change. And A is B because B is also God. And C is God, and D is God. So there doesn't need to be an A, B, C, D, and they can just be a God. So there is no alphabetical order. There's no chronological order. And there is no, what do I need to do in order to put myself in alignment and put myself in harmony with God? Because I just got done telling you, there is nothing you need to do, because there is no contract. All you have to do is show up and not only know that there is a God, but know that that same God moves and breathes and operates as you. I oftentimes say on Sunday service, what are you waiting on God to do that God has already equipped you to do? Because so many of us say, if I just had, I could. No, everything you ever needed is already instilled inside you. Which means anything that you could do, or you should do, or you would do, or you might do, if it is of God, it's already done. So we need to act as if it's already done. And I'm here preaching to the choir because I know most of you guys know this stuff, but I thought I knew it too. And I always know it when things are going well, but what happens when the ship hits the fan? What happens when things fall, what I believe in my human construct, out of alignment?
Right.
What happens when things just don't seem to be adding up? Those are the times that I feel like all I need to do is change, and everything will be good. It's not about me changing. It's about me remembering who I am. It's about me returning to what I've always been. Not about becoming B or becoming C or becoming thee or asking what came before or what needs to come after. It's about knowing that there is one presence, one power, one good, one God. It's about me knowing that I am in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of love, light, and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power. I acknowledge my presence. I acknowledge my power, and through my pure substance of love, let me bring into this world by manifestation what is by perfect law. I was driving here, or I was attempting to drive here today, and as I was walking out the door, I got a call, and it was a young lady, and she said, "Hey, Randy, I just want you to know, I just sent you that agreement to be able to do some speaking at another event." And I said, "Great." She says, "But the thing is, we're running behind, and I wanted to make sure that everything was done. So can you just look at the contract?" And I'm like, "Well, did you not get my contract that I sent to you?" And she says, "Yeah, but we just made a few changes. I want you to know that the contract I sent was one page. This is who I am. This is what I'm promising to do. This is what I'm hoping you're going to give me for who I am and what I'm promising to do. And this is when I'm asking you to have it by so that I show up where you need me to be." That was the entire contract. She sent me back a contract, and this is only the first 35 pages because it's still printing it on.
Holy cow.
So she took my one-page document, and this is literally one of 35, and there is 91 pages in a speaker's document that I have to speak in.
Ooh, no. Don't think so.
And I called her back and I said, "No." And she said, "Well, this is the way we've always done it." And I said, "Well, that's great. It's not the way I've always done it, and I'm coming to you. So when you're coming to me, we can do it the way you've done it. But when I'm coming to you, I'm going to do the way I've done it." And she says, "Well, do you have a copy of your contract?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, just sign it and send it back." One page. They tried to make me sign something different. I did add something, though, because I noticed on page 3, their daily per diem was more than I ever paid to be spoke at one event.
Wow.
So I went ahead and put that in my contract. I said, "You know what, if you're going to pay me this much," and this is not even the speak, this is the money I get to spend to eat, drink, and sleep wherever I'm going. And I said, that's pretty interesting. I think I need to add that to my contract. So I added it in as if it was always there. And I said, "You know what, it is all in divine order. It is all exactly as good intended, as love intended, as life intended, as God intended it." Now, I could have done something different. I could have reacted. I could have got frustrated. I could have got angry. Or I could have said, "You know what? This is not in harmony with what I am. This is not in alignment with who I choose to be. And if you're bringing me there, I want to be in harmony and I want to be in alignment." And she said, "I already told you, just sign your document and send it back." And I did. And I hung up the phone and thought everything was fine. And then I'm driving and she called me back and she was like, "Does it really say in your contract that God is, I am, and so if there's any problems, Source will take care of it?" And she says, "Who's Source?" I said, "Who do you want Source to be at this point?" And she says, "Well, shouldn't it be you or me?" And I said, "It was never you and it was never me, but it was always us." And she was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Do you have any more questions?" She goes, "No, I'm confused already. Thank you very much."
Very much.
So I want you to know that sometimes when we are in divine order, sometimes when we are in perfect harmony, sometimes when we are in perfect alignment, things will seem as confusing as all get out, but it doesn't mean it's not where we're supposed to be. And so I encourage you, I implore you, I request of you, I honor you as you lean in to being in the presence of pure being, to being immersed in the Holy Spirit of love and life and wisdom. To know that if you acknowledge this presence and you acknowledge this power, that you can eradicate, eliminate, and obliterate all mortal limitation. And through thy pure substance of love, through the pure substance of knowing who you are, knowing, for some of you, whose you are, you can create a world and manifest the world according to perfect law, which is the law of love, the law of God, the law of truth. Does that sound complicated to you? Because I'm here to tell you that some of you, after hearing this tonight, after coming forward, after moving forward, after and accepting that you were in the presence of something good about to happen, and that something good may not have even come from this stage. It may have been you having an epiphany saying, you know what, I've never thought about it that way before. It may be you going, wow, I can't believe I'm here at Unity Southeast in Kansas City. It may be you sitting in a chair going, you know what, I really love the color of the chairs in this room. Maybe I ought to use these same colors in my dining room. Whatever it is, there's something in this space, in this time, that is of good and of God, and you were called here by divine appointment to see it, to realize it, and to become in harmony with it. Amen?
Amen.
So I'm going to leave with just one last thought. And the thought is this. Oftentimes when we are in harmony, if you're an artist, a painter, and things are in harmony, it's because the colors balance and they're in nice composition and they're complementing each other. And so it's got to be more than one thing coming together that you can visually see that's appealing to the eye that makes it harmony. Okay? When you think about music and you're hearing music, oftentimes they say it's 2-part harmony or 5 parts harmony or 10 parts harmony. They never say it's 1 part harmony. There's always more than one coming together to create something that is more harmonious. When we are walking in nature and we get that awe of, oh my God, it smells like grandma's kitchen, or it smells like home, or it smells like, often it's because we can identify lots of different things that are in the air that just happen to hit our nasal structure at the right place at the right time when you go, ah, this feels good. Those are all human constructs. So even when the picture doesn't look correct, even when what you're hearing and what you're seeing and what you're feeling and what you're tasting feels a little off, I just want you to ask, is this of God? And if it is, know that you are in divine order and everything else will fall into place. It's never been yours to fix. It's never been yours to place first, second, third, fourth. It's never been yours to put in alphabetical order. But it's always been yours to recognize and to stand and to know it is true. So I thank you for coming tonight. And I know that we've got more speakers. And I'm going to invite Reverend Alyssa back up to introduce the next one. But I just want to say, once again, thank you to Isabel. And thank you to James. And if you happen to be watching this online and you haven't shared it yet, and the reason for sharing it is, oh, well, maybe this doesn't resonate with me. Maybe it's not supposed to resonate with you. Maybe it's supposed to resonate with someone else. Maybe it's your mom that needs to hear it, or your brother that needs to hear it, or your aunt that needs to hear it, or the lady that lives down the street that needs to hear it, or your congregation that needs to hear it, or your co-worker that needs to hear it. You have an opportunity. James and Isabel didn't create Activate Your Power because it was about your power.
Yes.
It was about our power. And the only way we find our power is when we activate your power. And so make sure that you are sharing this. Make sure you are liking this. Make sure you are supporting this. I know that there are so many people out there right now going, oh my God, this is amazing and I love it. And I can't believe I just finally found it. If you're watching this for the first time, make a donation. Give it a like, add a comment, make it a share. Because what they want to do, and what I know they will do, is change the world. And so I applaud you, and go out and continue to do great things.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Randy. And what I really heard and what your share was is really listening to that divine order. I also heard that it's when we are in that cooperation and in agreement, we are practicing spiritual law.
Yes.
So thank you for that. We really appreciate you. We are going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to bring up our last speaker for the evening, okay? 5 minutes.
Woohoo! Thank you. Thank you.
So.
I just done. Okay, absolutely. Yep. I got skin in my face.
Yeah, that's great. Doesn't want to play with you. Saying,
There we go. I was like,
say hi, friends.
I want to make sure we still see you too.
Sure.
I wake up on my own. I don't even know where to start.
Oh, where'd you go?
Oh, okay.
Are you gonna be there tomorrow night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I heard he canceled last night.
So we're going to continue our discussion on the power of order, and how order shows up in just fabulous ways in our lives. You know, we've heard about spiritual law. We've talked about earthly experiences. We've talked about the dynamic power of how order unfolds in harmony, in nature, in this very human vessel. And it's all quite, it's filled with what I consider I like to use the word magic, but I think an even better word is wonder. When we open our eyes to that state of wonder, that magic unfolds, right? So our next speaker is going to continue us on the power of order and how it all shows up in her world. Come on up, Andrea.
Thank you, everyone. Can I get a hey, love?
Hey, love.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. I'm Andrea Luzon.
Sorry, does the
Oh,
camera
yeah,
need to see the
myself.
paper? Does it need to see the paper?
Does it need to see the paper? Yeah, that would, well, I'm sure you can
You want a
angle down
chair?
a little bit. Thank you for your patience online.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Andrea Luzon, a legacy liberator. Oh, okay, we're gonna lift this up high. Woo. So, here we go, yay.
There.
All right, starting fresh. Hey, love.
Hey, love.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Andrea Luzon, a legacy liberator. I empower leaders to stand in their power, to stand in their passion, to stand in who they are. I especially am really passionate about supporting mothers of neurodivergent children, supporting these mothers in loving their life, loving their children, loving their work, but most importantly, loving themselves. So who here knows that they are a legacy? Yeah, you know you leave a legacy everywhere you go?
Yeah.
Who knows that first you leave a legacy in your mind and body before it ripples out into the world? Yes, hands, yes. Well, you're right. Okay, most of us know that our legacy begins within, and then we take it with us everywhere. Everywhere we go, we're affecting people with what we believe about ourselves. Today, I would love to take you on a journey, a little adventure around the power of order and how it can play in your life. So I would love for you to visualize walking into a bedroom, opening a bedroom door in a house. So over the windows, you see pastel flowered curtains. Up against one wall, you see a wrought iron, white painted daybed with a duvet that is the same fabric, the same pastel floral pattern. Up against an adjacent wall, you see a large cream colored dresser with a mirror above it. On the front of the dresser is painted pastel flowers. A similar style of dresser is on the nightstand. It's replicated in the nightstand with a beautiful lamp. So even amidst all of this beauty, my younger sister's bedroom was a challenging place to enter when we were growing up in our parents' household. As you entered, there would be these small mountains of clothing, and your ankles were in danger of twisting because of the haphazardly placed books and shoes and music stands and a cello and other things that a teenage girl would have in her room. But you ask her to lend you a particular sweater or a hairbrush, and she would reach into a pile or under a pile and pull out the exact item that you had requested. I found this very surprising, but that, to me, that means that for her, there was order. There was order in this. Some people were experiencing it as chaos, but to her, there was some order. So order is unique to each of us. We are all different individuals. So when you look at these two different rooms, for those of you online, we have a room that is empty of stuff, very, very sparse. Some people might experience that as sterile and uncomfortable. Some people might experience this as safe and comforting. There's another room here in the pictures that is full of stuff. And some people might experience that as claustrophobic and uncomfortable. And some people might find this calming. So we are all different. We are all different, unique creatures, and our personality gets to be reflected in our spaces. We are all different. You are a unique individual, and I often talk about your love legacy. This is the unique imprint that you make on hearts and minds through your presence, your words, and your deeds. The order in your life gets to be an expression of that unique impact that you are. And you know what's right for you. I don't know what's right for you. The person down the street doesn't know what's right for you. You know what's right for you. So let's imagine that order, one definition, let's just sit with this for a minute, that order is creating energetic alignment with the things in your life that matter to you. And I'd love to paint you a picture just to kind of help you go there with this visual. Who has ever played pool? Also called billiards, okay? Most of us in the room have played pool or billiards. When you start the game of pool, the intention is to break up the balls. You are creating space, and you believe that that is going to put you in the winning position. You believe that that is going to allow you to see your options, give you some distance, give you some space, let you consider what's on the table. What do I want to shoot for? What do I want to sink? So you are creating energetic space for yourself. Everything in this world has energy. I think everyone in this room definitely is in tune with that. We all have energy. This chair has energy. This person has energy. This light has energy. There's energy in us, around us. So it's pretty difficult in our life when things are starting to get tighter and tighter and tighter, like on the pool table. If you're the cue ball and all of these balls are surrounding you, it's pretty difficult to make a successful shot because things are in pretty tight in your space. You need to breathe. You get to have some space. And I feel that this life is a lot like this. So order is an opportunity. I believe that order is an invitation for you to create energetic alignment in your life by how you connect with what matters to you. It's about how you express yourself. It's how you arrange your life. So who in this room knows that Andrea here, your speaker, also practices energy healing? Half of us are aware of that, most of us. So I have a clearing practice that I move through before I have a client, I'm not gonna call them a patient, before I have a client. I tune into opening up my own channel, my own frequency, and getting my ego out of the way. So that whatever is going to happen for the client is whatever is gonna happen for the client. This is not about me, this is about them, but I get to play a role in it. I get to be an antenna. You know, I get to be part of this experience. I believe in the triangle. The symbol of my business is a triangle. It's the practitioner, it's the client, and it is spirit, universe, source, universal consciousness. Whatever feels good for you, that is divine and boundless. This locks the triangle into place. So I have a prayer that I say before every coaching session, before every energy healing session. Dear God, help me be a clear vessel of your divine love. Help my ego step out of the way so that I allow whatever divine experience my client is ready for to come through me. So I'd like to offer something like that to you. If you're walking into a new situation, say a prayer. If you're about to be with someone that you have some history with, so maybe there's been tension in the past, maybe there's discomfort or upset, can you ask to be cleared? Can you ask to experience that person as love? Or even gratitude in advance. Thank you, universe, for being with me as I experience my mother-in-law as love. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Thank you in advance, thank you in advance, thank you in advance. I love that type of prayer, that type of meditation. Thank you for all that you brought into my life. Thank you as I walk into this job interview. Whatever is in my highest good, let that unfold. I love that. I learned that from Unity, that it's just what Randy said. It's not what I know. It's not the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's like me being in alignment with Spirit. Dear God, whatever's in my highest good, please let that be what comes forward next. So who has felt times of balance and order in their life before? One. Who has felt times of imbalance and disorder in their life before? Yes, yes. Now, I'd invite all of us to close our eyes for a moment. And I don't even want to ask which one feels better, but allow yourself to scan inside your body and feel balance and order. For some of us, we're going to be hunting for quite a while. For others, this is more of our normal state. We can feel balance, we can feel order. Sometimes I feel it in my chest, like my heart just feels full, and I'm like, whew, that is what balance and order feels like. Sometimes I feel it in my throat, I feel strong with my voice. I feel in command of my words. I know I'm speaking my truth. This feels like balance and order. For some of us, maybe we feel it in our hands. We've hugged people, we've hugged ourselves. But allow yourself to feel that balance and order. And as you're tuning in with that feeling, I invite you to ask yourself a couple of questions. What were the ingredients in my life when the resulting feeling was balance and order? What were the feelings in my life when there was balance and order? And just let yourself kind of maybe Rolodex through some moments in your life that you felt balance and order, and what was going on? How were you showing up? Was I calm? Was I patient? Was I holding the other person high? Was I holding myself high? Okay, just breathe all of that in. On your next in-breath, make it nice and deep. Just soak in all of that intelligence, all of that awareness, all of that divinity, and then breathe out anything that feels stuck. Sometimes I like to shimmy, and then exhale. Okay, so we're gonna move forward. Thank you for that little experiment with me. Upon my reading before this talk, I read that in the teachings of Unity, the principle of order is defined as the intelligence of the universe expressing through each of us. So if you are wanting to do closed eyes again, let's just listen to those words one more time. The order is the intelligence of the universe expressing through each of us. Now, I don't know about you, you can open or keep your eyes closed, either or. I don't know about you, but that's exciting to me because my life was trained with listen to your mind, know the answer, know the outcome, don't take risks until you know the how. You know, mind is the ruler, mind is the king. Spirit, heart, ego, or spirit, heart, and source, and God is like little role, ego and mind, big role.
Right.
I've been taught in my spiritual psychology training that those get to reverse. Source, spirit, soul, that's the connection we get to have. Ego still plays a role. Ego does support us. There's drive there. There's competitiveness there. There's showing up. There's getting out of bed. There's brushing your teeth. Like this ego does get to be in the car with you, but you get to take the keys back, right? Soul gets to have the keys. Ego, we still need you. Mind, logic, we still need you. So the hope that I get, what I feel from that statement, Unity's perspective on order, that's divinity coming through me, is that I get to trust. We get to trust that following our intuitive hits, sometimes I call it the knocking on your heart. It's not. There we go. Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Can't do it on this one either. Okay, so the intuitive hit or the knocking on your heart, that is actually going to bring you balance. That is going to create balance in your life because you're tuning in here and then you're going out here. You're going in here first and then you're stepping out. So I feel like Randy and I are definitely simpatico here. So some of my clients, or a lot of us humans, and the little s human, and then there's the big S soul source part of us. So our little s self, it often struggles with keeping an expected schedule versus feeling free and uninhibited with our time. So a lot of my clients have struggled with this. It's like, where do I balance like freedom, and then where do I balance like commitment, scheduling, action items, all of that stuff. So in my research, having structure does actually allow your creativity to flow. Having some structure can be, and ask a painter, ask an author, ask a business person, and ask them what kind of structure they have. Does it serve you? The successful ones will say yes. Showing up at doing a sunrise painting experience helped me grow my expressiveness. Having certain times of day or whatever works for you. You get to know your biological clock. Who here has heard of to-do lists? Ever heard of them? I've heard of them. Okay, so my invitation to you is to just think a little bit today. I'd like to go into the mind a little bit, because the mind needs to be in service to the heart. And what I would love to support those of us that we want to be free, but then we also want to track what we're up to. Make sure that we're sticking with what we've declared. When we get those intuitive hits, then you get to turn the mind on and use the mind and map out where you're going. So I have 5 different little steps I'd like to share with you. 5 ways to balance commitments and schedules. Question, who here just keeps all of the data in their head? Does anyone just love keeping all the info up here?
I'm working on not doing that.
Got it? Not doing that. Working on not doing that, says Izzy. Here. So who has a practice of writing down action items, goals, or to-do lists? Anybody here? Awesome. Okay. So I will confess, I love the Notes app on my iPhone. I love to put the little open check mark circle next to each action item. And then when I get that item done, I go into the phone and I click that little button, and an orange check mark shows up, and it feels so good. It feels so good. What I don't like about that method is that it becomes this one long scrolling, and then the overwhelm starts, and I'm like, ugh. So I have some ideas that I'd like to share with you. So number 1, keep it in your head. That does work for some people. We are not all the same. We are unique beings. So number 1, keep it in your head. Number 2, write it out in one list. So I have a little just picture here I'm going to show you. Hopefully it'll stay standing. I'm not staying standing. Okay. This is my kids' art project. Down below. There we go. Okay. So for those of you who can see this list, this is just a brain dump. This is just like oh my gosh, there's so much in my mind, let me get it out on paper. So to whom here thinks that this feels better than keeping it in your head? Does this feel better to get it out? Okay, so there's another option here. So take this total brain dump of all the things. For those of you online, this is just a bunch of writing. So these are tiny, but I'd love for you to see that these are chunked. So you're going to chunk it into groups of similar items. I took that list, and then I went, oh, this is stuff that is about the closet spaces. This is taxes. This is a standalone. Here we've got clean the house, clean the basement, clean the garage. This is this like build stuff in the house, clean the house. This is all lawn stuff, this whole section. And then this is stuff I'm doing in my business right now. So this is computer stuff, this is whatever. Some of you might have phone calls. Some of you might have, this is computer stuff. Some of you might have things that all involve grandma's house. Maybe you have that. And so chunking things out, it's almost like it frees up energetic space in your body to be like, oh, cool. Maybe I can call so-and-so and they can help me with this area this weekend. And we can bust through a few of these things. So then I recommend taking the bigger ones, like I have clear the garage. Take that and break it out. Break it into smaller bite-sized pieces. So add a little list here that's like, oh, okay, what are the things in the garage that I want to do? So the last part, and this is for you energetically, change the name of the list to something fun. Instead of to-do list, it becomes ta-da, list. And then have some celebration practices. Give yourself a hug. Come up with your own unique touchdown dance. For those of you who saw my interview with Chuck Doyle, you have seen my touchdown dance. Not gonna happen today. But have a way to celebrate. Have a way to celebrate that feels good for you. Because here's the thing, we are so used to, I'll speak for myself. I get so used to overwhelm that I sometimes forget to celebrate. And I'm just like, well, I did those 3 things, I'll just add another thing. And I'll stay up later, and I'll add this thing, and then I'll add this thing. And gosh, whew, that is not good for your body, and it creates dis-ease. We all know what that means. So have some celebration so you create new anchor points of worthiness, confidence. I am a person that follows through. Like when one of these comes off, I want to see that touchdown dance. One of these little Post-its comes off, crinkle it up, toss it between your legs, and celebrate that you are showing up for yourself. I got an intuitive hit. Yes, I feel like there's source in it, there's spirit in it. Yes, it feels good. I'm going to use my mind as a tool to make it happen. And once one tiny step towards that vision is complete, touchdown dance, celebration, call a girlfriend, go for that mindfulness walk, whatever it is. Okay, so I just wanted to go a little cerebral for just a moment. So coming back to billiards, order is about being. I think most importantly, we could just put a period right there. Order is about being. Be you. You be you. So it's about being your creative, divinely expressive self and giving yourself space to explore and experiment, to create the goals and the life that feel most authentically you. And just to tie it up in a bow, my sister has found her own unique order since those days of the piles of clothes. And we talked on the phone yesterday, and I was like, here's my speech tomorrow. And she's like, man, and then we went down the rabbit hole of childhood together. It was really beautiful. So if you would like support with coming home to that divine self, whether it's something like to-do lists, or whether it's like reclaiming your identity, your passion, your power, you can get all sorts of free videos at AndreaLuzon.com. You can follow me on Instagram and all the places under Legacy Liberation Coaching. I would love to see you all there. Thank you so much.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Thank you, Andrea. Let's give her another round of applause. I really heard you share when you were talking about the power of order and when you spoke about prayer, because prayer is totally my jam. and when you rest in spirit, you lose yourself, right? And when it's no longer about you asking, it's about allowing the Spirit of God to work in through and as you, and then the prayer unfolds in that perfect way. And you may not have a clue what was said, you may not remember a thing, but that harmonic balance is taking place.
Right.
So thank you. So we are going to conclude our evening for Activate Your Power Now. We so love that all of you are here with us tonight, and as you go forth into this next week, I'm sure the power of order is going to show up in unexpected and most wondrous ways. Amen?
Amen.
Have a blessed evening.
So group pick for the speaker.